Thank you for joining our PSA. Did you know that 77% of men who have completed suicide died on their first attempt? Please join us as we bring awareness and light to this national epidemic.
Me personally, I feel mental health is frowned upon because we're always told to be strong.
We're all taught that going to church and praying away our worries and our problems is what pushes us forward. But sometimes we do need to release all of the trauma, and we need an outsource from an unbiased opinion to help us push forward.
When you think about black people as subjugated, oppressed people, you have to be seen as human in order to be seen as someone worth being cared for mentally and physically and emotionally. And black people have yet to be seen as fully human in this country. And I believe that contributes to why black people may not emphasize or center mental health in the black community.
Did you know that mothers under the age of 25, as well as mothers with twins, are at high risk of postpartum depression?
It's a depression that new mothers deal with when it comes down. It can either be with your hormones, the way that you look, your fatigue. Symptoms that I had was sleeping a lot, isolating myself a lot, and just always feeling down.
I want to first start out by giving a trigger warning, because talking about suicide is tough and can trigger and dig up a lot of emotions for each and every one of us. And so while I have battled with my own mental health challenges, I have not battled suicidal ideation on my own.
So suicide affects us all differently, right? I personally haven't experienced directly with suicide. I used to run a dance team called Ambush Dance Entertainment back in the day. I was about 17 or 18, and there was a young youth dancer. Her name was Mecca Muhammad, R.I.P. She succumbed to suicide. I just remember her being so full of life, so bright, so loving. And when I got the news, I was a freshman at Northern Illinois University, and I saw her brother make a Facebook post, and I was destroyed.
Well, back in 2015, I attempted suicide a few times. I used to swallow pills a lot. Like, I would take the pills, didn't matter how many or whose they were, and I would try to just...
I recently had a friend no more than 4 years ago. She committed suicide. This was actually my first high school girlfriend. We literally was all high school. After high school, we was like closest thieves. And she was actually a doctor. She went to U of I. She graduated, got her degree, did her training. She literally did everything to come back to commit suicide. And it was like, that was the real eye-opener to me, that was like, okay, maybe you do need to seek help.
One time I stayed with my brother, and I was just going through a lot with my friends, my family, school wasn't going well, and I knew he kept his gun. And I pointed it to my head one time, and I really thought about pulling the trigger, but God had other plans.
And so I've been in conversations with people that have been on their ledge, that have been on their last nerve, that have come to me saying, I don't want to be here. And that perhaps is one of the most scariest conversations I've had to navigate in my life. First and foremost, these are people you love, right? You want to be able to see live full and healthy lives, and to see them in those moments is very tough.
Well, at the moment, I have not overcame it, but what I'm working on is seeing a therapist to help me through it. It has been difficult. I'm trying not to let it, mess with my life in a way, but it's really hard.
Do you know that 20% of first-time mothers have suffered from postpartum depression,
and 15% of first-time mothers have attempted suicide.
Dealing with it, I can truly say that my son saved me. And by save me is actually, when I look at him, when I'm feeling down, he motivates me to actually get out the bed. He motivates me to not sit there and isolate myself. He motivates me to actually eat and move around. So without him, I'll probably be in a worse predicament.
The suicide rate amongst male veterans is twice the national average.
I think this is reinforced notions that come from various places. I think that one, we have always had to be seen as protectors.
Emotions in the Black community are stigmatized with being feminine and being for women. Women are more vocal about how they feel. Women are more sympathetic and show way more empathy. So when a Black man does it, they're automatically deemed with being weak or being a woman, and that's just not true.
Because it was literally our lives on the line as enslaved people. I think that this impacts households. This does not solely impact Black men. So Black mothers had to raise sons to be tough because they knew the world their sons were born into. They knew that being in this world and not being strong meant that could cost you your life.
A lot of trauma stays within the Black community when us as Black people are receptive to someone else speaking about their feelings, or when someone else isn't open to talking about what they're going through.
In most, if not all households, men are considered the head of the household. They're considered the breadwinners. They're considered the muscle, the protectors. So with that mindset, with that ideology of being a protector, you can't show weakness. You can't show that you're feeling down. You can't show that you're having a bad day, because it's people looking up to you. And it's people looking at you while you're going through the things you're going through.
When we see a man cry, it's normalized that that man is showing weakness, when in reality we're showing strength.
So this is the unique position that Black men have to navigate this world in. This tale of two tensions where one side of me wants to survive, but what I need to do to survive is also threatening to my life at the same time. And so I see that as what W.E.B. Du Bois will call double consciousness, where Black people and Black men specifically have to continue to war within themselves with being Black in the United States of America.
To never give up. You have to keep in mind that even though that you're feeling this way, it is people around you that do truly love you for who you are, whether if you're big, small, fat, short, whatever.
Suicide is very, very real. It affects us, like I said, in different ways. And if you need help, please say something. None of us knew that Mecca was suffering. None of us knew that she was unhappy or wanted to unalive herself. And so I wish I was there to be more of support for her, physically and mentally.
Did you know suicide is the second cause of leading deaths in our youth? And in the LGBTQ plus community, our teens are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their peers.
With me being an openly proud Black gay man in Chicago, I can say that growing up, it was a little difficult. I didn't have the familial support as I had expected, right? But at this time, a lot of my friends were going through transitions. A lot of my friends were trying to find out their sexuality and find out how they define their sexuality. So Chicago has a space called Boys Town, right? And so there are some spaces that are safe, or, make you feel like you're safe in your queerness. But this is the norm. And so I remember struggling and combating with my mother about my sexuality and how I was going to define it. And it wasn't until I was much, much older, probably my early 20s, that I just decided to not care what people thought and did not care how folks felt about my sexuality because it's mine and it's mine to define and live my life how I so see fit. So, yeah.
You gotta keep going.
If I can go back in time and tell myself about mental health, I would tell myself it's okay, and that a bad day, a bad moment does not equal a bad life.
When it comes to stress, I cope with stress through first Remy.
So one, I am immensely thankful for a black mother and a black father who emphasize doing more than shooting basketballs, doing more than playing football, doing more than running track and being seen as a quality athlete. While I participated in sports, I was also blessed with the creative arts. And while it was something that started out as a hobby, it grew to be how I make sense of the world, how I navigate the world. And it's a large part of my identity, being creative and being able to create and being able to utilize my talents beyond the stage.
Communication. Communication is key. Anything I'm feeling, anything that I feel is overbearing, I try to communicate it. I try to get it out. I try to be transparent about it because that's my initial reaction. Because I don't want it built up. I don't want the tension to come. Prior to that, yeah, it was definitely Remy. It was definitely Hennessy. It was definitely weed.
How do I cope now? I allow myself to feel and not react. I think a lot of the times when we deal with stress, when we deal with emotion, we look for quick fixtures. We look for things to cope. I'm hurting, so I need something to hurt me and take away that hurt. I need something to feel good in this moment. You know, I need to feel inebriated. I need to feel intoxicated when that does nothing but entice our emotion. So I think now I just feel it. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge what I'm feeling.
And then it's okay to seek a therapist because they can also open things up for you to actually realize that you are actually worth being here.
And I just, have to remember that I'll be okay. And every day is not a good day. So sometimes you will have those moments when you relapse into a bad habit. You will have those moments when you don't act like yourself. But we're human. We're allowed to feel. We're allowed to express ourselves, and we're allowed to make mistakes. And as long as we remind ourselves of that, then that's personally what pushes me forward. I'm a human. I'm gonna make mistakes, and I have to learn from that. And I think that's what I would tell myself. Learn from whatever you're going through. Don't repeat the same mistakes. If it's not working now, that don't mean it won't work in the future, or that means just to try something else.
That 5th grade teacher that was a white woman who made you feel like a thug in class because you was black, she was wrong about you. And that you did matter, and that you are smart, and that you could do it. And I want to relay that to every other black boy and black male who has ever felt less than from anyone for any purpose, and to remind you that it's a lie. It's a lie, and it's strategic to try to subdue your creative brilliance, your black brilliance, right? Your contribution to this world and to this country is strategically being silenced by many different complex things. But know that from me, you matter, and this world wouldn't be what it is without you. We need you. We love you.
If you or someone you may know dealing with thoughts of suicide, please text HOME to 741-741, and you will immediately be transferred to a crisis counselor. We don't have to go through this alone anymore, y'all.